So I made it to the hotel. One of the things I do when I get to hotels is usually I shave, just because my wife doesn't necessarily like when I shave at home so much because it makes a mess. So I'm going to do a quick shave. We'll see how that goes. That worked out pretty well. Off to see now Eric Enge from Perficient Digital. Should be a pretty interesting meeting, and looking forward to talking to Eric. I've known him for forever, so it should be fun. This video is sponsored by Rank Ranger, an all-in-one SEO platform that offers dozens of customizable tools and reports. Check them out at rankranger.com. We're walking into Eric's office here at Perficient Digital, 4 California Avenue, to have a chat with Eric. So looking forward to it. Eric, thank you so much for doing this. Thanks for having me at your offices. I think it's my first time here.
It is your first time here, and I'm so thrilled that you came out to meet with us.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I do appreciate it. A lot of people obviously know you in the industry, especially if they're watching this vlog. They probably know who you are. But I was hoping you could tell people a little bit about your history in the SEO space.
Stone Temple Consulting was founded in 1997. That's a long time ago. That's 22 years ago. And at the time, it was just a biz dev shop, and it was just me doing stuff. But after a number of years, what happened is I had a client come to me and ask me to help them with biz dev. And after about 30 days, I made a decision, and I went into the CEO and I said, look, you really should think about getting traffic from search engines. It was just sort of an innocent question. And like a good CEO, he did the natural thing, which he said, okay, Eric, you go do it. It was a DVD e-tail site. A year later, we were doing $3 million a year in sales from search. And based on that, I kind of made the logical decision, maybe I should do some more of this.
So when did that hit you? 1997 or like that was 2000?
That was like around 2000 or something. Okay. Yeah, when that happened. So that's kind of how it started. But even then, for a long time, I was actually just publishing my own sites. And I would publish those sites, and together with 1, 2, or 3 partners, depending on the business, sold 3 publishing companies. And finally, after that one, decided to make consulting, and therefore Stone Temple Consulting, my main gig, and did that for about a decade before we ended up selling the company.
Right. So that's pretty interesting. A lot of people who I speak to who's been in the SEO space for a long time started doing SEO mostly because their clients were like, how do I come up in, I guess back then, Alta Vista or something like that.
Right.
So that's very interesting to hear. Another half is like, I needed a job. I just went to work for somebody. They told me I'm good at writing or something, and did SEO that way. Stone Temple is your baby. I mean, it feels like a baby, I assume.
Sure.
And selling it must have been a little bit hard. How is that?
Well, it's kind of interesting. For me, I'm pretty good in one respect when it comes to like life changes. Like when something's inevitable and it's the right thing to do, I don't actually have that much angst over it, which doesn't mean that there aren't things that weren't hard about it. I'm not trying to tell you all that there weren't parts that were hard about doing it. But another example, my kids went off to college, and you have all these parents, my kids went off to college.
Right.
And it's like, I was happy for them.
Right.
Because it's what's supposed to happen in their lives.
Right.
And my wife, and I would sat back and said, hey, we can be kids again. So with this selling the company, look, I'm 62, nearly 63 years old, right? I'm not going to be doing this when I'm 70. So what better than to try to do something to find a place where the company can continue and survive as part of a larger company, after it's time for me to step out.
Can I ask, and I can edit this out if you don't want to answer, did you look to sell, or did somebody approach you, or was kind of both?
I was getting emails for years with people, you want to sell, and at one point an email came in that looked kind of interesting, and we went and met with a company down in New York, which wasn't Perficient. It was somebody else, and it wasn't a good fit, and so that was the end of that. But what happened is it kind of started the process in our mind. So we got, when I say I co-owned the company with my wife, Beth, who was our COO. But that started the process, and we got an investment banker involved, and they actually found Perficient and brought them in. It was ended up being a good fit.
That's it. So I always knew your wife. You co-own the company together. Mm-hmm. She's not really that public in terms of going to conferences like you, or going on the videos and blogging and stuff like that. How is it working with your wife? I'm sure you get that question a lot, but
So definitely some challenges, no question about it. But you think about, what did I do? I did the right things, kind of figure out what our services are, how we deliver them, and how to sell them, and be the face of the company, do all that stuff. And she basically was the person on the backside of things, making it all work.
Yeah.
And a true COO type, and I was more like a true CEO type. And that's what we did, and yeah, we were able to get it to work.
It's interesting because I work with my brother. We're actually twin brothers. I don't know if you know that. And I'm the CEO. I focus mostly on biz dev and getting new customers and making sure they're happy overall. But he's a CTO. He's more in charge of making sure the projects get done, they get done right and on time. And I think we don't really fight that much. Obviously, just brother bickering, but we all have our roles. Like my role's clear, his role's clear, and that helps. With the business, I think. So it sounds like it's somewhat similar in terms of roles, and that helps. So that's cool. In terms of the Perficient sale, going back to it, it seemed to me when it happened, a lot of the employees were super happy for you guys in general.
Well, first of all, let's be honest about it. The first meeting, call an all hands meeting, bring everybody in, and I get to tell them all that the company's been sold, and the first reaction is shock.
Yes.
Right. The most important thing I did in that meeting is I did not try to fix it right then and there, because it's not possible. You have to let them absorb what's going on. But I think over time, continuing to do the things the way we were doing it before, for the most part, definitely some things changed. A lot of what we were doing is very similar. And yeah, I think for the most part, people were happy for us. So, which was great. Was
that like the hardest thing to do? Just to tell the employees? Was that a hard thing to do, to tell the employees that day?
Yeah, of course it was, right? I mean, it's a big change in their lives. And, unfortunately, the situation is that because of the nature, especially since we're, talking to a public company, we literally, had to keep the number of people who knew what was going on to a very small number. That's just unfortunate part of the way that process works.
Yeah, and it's not the way the company's been very, very transparent. So keeping one thing that's so important to all the employees in the company must have been kind of tearing you up inside, but legally you had no choice. So.
You don't have any choice.
Yeah, so
it was hard, but...
Well, that's important. I know a lot of companies in the past several years in the SEO industry or SEM industry have been sold or acquired and stuff like that. So I assume there's some people listening that are in that process, and hopefully this helps somebody there. Yep. So obviously you're still working in a major way at Perficient, or formerly Stone Temple. I assume, like you said at the beginning of this intro, that you are of a certain age and you're going to not be doing this when you're 70 years old. What's going to be next for you? What do you think?
So I'll be here for a while yet. Very engaged in helping the digital marketing practice within Perficient grow. So I have a role in that, and I'm enjoying that for now. Look, at some point, maybe my work life will drop to 30 hours a week, and I'll just be consulting, and may or may not be related to SEO. I mean, I have a love and fascination of machine learning, and I've done some things in that area already, and have actually created some machine learning algorithms, and it would be fun to do. So maybe I do that, maybe I don't. I'm not quite sure. So I have time to figure that out.
You definitely have some time to figure that out. It's interesting because you've been doing SEO for not 22, you're probably a little bit longer than 22 years.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like become you, right?
Yes.
So I assume obviously machine learning has a lot to do with that, meaning how algorithms work, how Google algorithms work with machine learning and stuff like that. So I can see why you might want to go into that. But you've been so part of the industry that, the community is part. It's just the same thing. You've done so many things in the community, SEO community, and helped the community go so far in what it is. You've spoken at. Do you have any conferences you've spoken at?
Oh, I have no idea.
Hundreds, probably.
Yeah, right? Hundreds is certainly true. But yeah.
Do you think it's 1,000? Do you think he's probably given over 1,000?
No, I don't think I've done 1,000.
No.
Because the reason why I don't think I've done 1,000 is I do most of the U.S. shows, but I don't go international typically. So I could have gotten there if I'd been going to all these shows internationally, but we weren't trying to grow the business internationally. It was happening quickly enough here in the States. So.
And did you sponsor them? Obviously you sponsor a lot of shows financially. Do you sponsor them for the business or just to give back to the community?
Well, there's a little bit of both, right? So the community has been fabulous to me, and there's so many good people, and you know, obviously, there's so much co-opetition in this community, and people who are, They're like deadly competitors in some RFP that's happening over here, and they're having a beer at the bar, and both knowing not that they're not going to talk about that RFP, but shooting the breeze about other aspects of the industry at a conference, and it happens all the time. And people are very personable. But it's typical when you have a growing tech-related space. That's kind of what tends to happen.
You think? Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I wrote this in a blog post when I did that whole chain about SEOs, honoring SEOs and stuff like that. But I don't know if there's anybody who's given as much in terms of money, resources, time, content than you in the industry. I mean, you think about it, hundreds of speaking engagements, probably most of them unpaid. You produced probably more than dozens of studies, like in-depth studies about how things
Something
work
works.
with Google or how things work in SEO or whatever. You've interviewed numerous engineers at search engines. You've done hundreds of video blogs,
So here's why is 220 and counting.
220.
Yeah, 220.
It's the countless blog posts, sharing on social media. It's literally, I'd be surprised if you actually if there was an ROI in terms of pure financial ROI on that, because I know how much I contribute, and I don't do SEO, which is obviously, so it's unrelated. But I can't imagine like a certain study. If you got one big client, obviously it helps. But I can't imagine if you put them all together that there was a return on investment in terms of, all right, this translated to this amount of business. So maybe I'm wrong. I mean, why do you do so much?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think there actually is a pretty decent ROI on it from a business perspective. So just to address that part. So I'll immediately make myself seem completely unselfless. It's just pure greed. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, maybe nowadays, I mean, when you were running the company, maybe you had to pitch to your wife that there was an ROI. Especially now that Perficient owns the company, you probably have to say there is an ROI. But I don't think maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think you did it when Stone Temple owned the company for the ROI.
Well, I mean, look, there were a lot of reasons for doing it, and thank you for that. First of all, a lot of times when it comes to the studies, I want to know the answer. I want to understand how that works.
Right.
And it's my instinct, once we have that information, to go out and share it and say, hey, by the way, that's how this works, and really help everybody benefit from that knowledge. And there's other people who publish a lot of great content and do studies too. And I really do enjoy the giving back aspect of it, and being able to help others. I get a lot of people from the Art of SEO saying, hey, the Art of SEO, this is the book that started me in my career. It got me my job. I love getting those emails. That's just awesome when you see that. I'm sure you get some people who are reaching out to you along those lines too, and it's really a great deal of fun. You're at a conference, you're talking to someone comes up and they're just starting out, and try to give them some pointers and some direction on how to do things. We're even a heavily introverted, and I am heavily introverted, by the way, geek like myself.
Right.
Just to feel this sense of connection in the way to pay something forward and help people, get their start is awesome.
Well, I don't think enough people say thank you, so I'll say thank you on behalf of the community.
But we can say the same for you. You do a tremendous amount for this community too. With everything you
type
publish
fast and just copy and paste what you guys talk about.
But I will say thank you on behalf of the community to you as well.
Well, thank you. This is not about me. This is about you.
Well, that's okay. But
Anyway,
just trying to call it the way it is.
Let's get into the nitty-gritty of SEO. Obviously, we talked about your history, the sale, what you want to do next. We talked about community, but let's really get into SEO.